Amandla, awethu. Without any waste of time, program I'm going to say yebo. Dumelang di Macheroni, Limpopo, le gona. Mpumalanga, le teng. Eastern Cape, Legopi, all the way. Western Cape, as yellow oak iso, on criminal law regarding sexual offenses and related matters as wellness. Because we know that wellness cannot just be about mental issues. Wellness should also be about who we are, we exercise. So if you eat properly and exercise regularly, that leads to your wellness. You 40 and above, because the immune system begins to be a little bit weak. It's also here. So as we are starting with this workshop in this October month, so in particular Cancer Awareness Month, breast cancer awareness. We know that prostate cancer in particular oftentimes affect males, cervix cancer oftentimes. So that said, we can't just be celebrated in October. We're looking forward as Sadtu to having a National Teachers' Day in our country. And starting this year or last year, if I'm not mistaken, there would be those that are writing sign language in matrices. We know that the Proteas are playing from at 10:30 today in the Cricket World Cup. We did exceptionally well on Saturday, wherein we walloped England, annihilate them in the Rugby World Cup. We are not doing this for the first time. The previous World Cup, we got it from them. Of the previous one, wherein we beat the hosts, we beat France 29-28. It was nail-biting, unbelievable. We never thought that we were going to go through, and with almost 80,000 odds were against us. But because of our resilience and dromedaries and Khudego, I said 16-15. So those of you who followed the game would know that we were, as something that I've never observed in some of these very important games, was the drop ball that gave them 15. Up to the 60th minute, plus the 2 of conversion, 13-15. The last 3 minutes, then we scored our penalty. So it was 16-15. And then only 2 minutes left. Ultimately, whole 60 minutes, lose it in the last minutes. It's not the same case with Kaizer Chiefs. The last 4 games, you know what happened. The last 5 minutes, that's just like teachers are very unfortunate. When kids do well at school, we say, hey, these kids are brilliant. But when they don't, teachers are to blame. So when Chiefs doesn't do well on your good selves, to bear in mind of our Sadtu Friday, the first Friday of each month, wherein we're saying teachers home earlier than it could have happened. You know, once you are found guilty through SACE, you will be as new educators, they are being vetted whether we are not giving our kids wrong people. So they land themselves into troubles. And in the SACE annual report, it says to us, 2022-2023, it says to us 163 educators were charged for sexual misconduct. 163. Of the 700 and something, 163. But here is the catch. With the new amendments, failure to report such matters of sexual relationship between educators and learners might land you as a school principal into trouble. A learner, for instance, impregnating of a learner, statutory rape comes in. In some of our schools, very young ones get impregnated and we keep silent. I have a problem at my school. Teacher A, B are doing 1, 2, 3 things. So knowledge is power. You are here to come and be empowered about the new amendments. So that tomorrow you don't say, I was not aware. But remember, if you don't know, which is ignorance, lack of knowledge, is not an excuse for misconduct. You can't say, I was not aware. From now henceforth, I am aware and therefore. So you are here to be empowered. And all we are saying is that we wish you fruitful deliberations. And on behalf of the National Executive Committee, this workshop is opened, and all of the best in your deliberations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to our president. Our workshop is open, and no one of us is going to say from today, I didn't know. Ignorance is going out of the door, and I would like to invite each and every one of us to engage, keep our minds open, ask all the questions that we want to ask. As the session goes on, make a note to your whole community. Now we have learned it's teachers, it's learners, it's everyone. We are the ones who are gate controllers, monitors. Whole day, we have Advocate Luvuyo Bono, who's going to be our facilitator. And he is the chairperson of the LRC from 2012, La University since 2019. And I hope that we can give him all our attention. And without forgetting this, can we just make sure our cell phones are on silent so that we can be able to engage while we have to do what we have to do without disturbing everyone. Advocate, please take the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Okay, where's Cindy? Oh, now it's up, but it's not up here. Okay, put it on once more. I was trying to find the controls, yes. So we're going to spend the next 3 days, or today, tomorrow, and the other day, talking about a variety of things. The notes that you have in front of you, I'm not going to go page by page. We're going to have conversations on, and yes, we'll talk about the Sexual Offences and Related Matters Amendment Act, which is 13 of 2021. After lunch, start talking about the definition of sexual offense and what is it that we need to manage. And I'm going to also link that with what the courts and legislation to court on a number of occasions on what the courts have interpreted the law to mean about what the role of a principal in managing discipline at the school is. And I'm going to pay some attention to one of the biggest challenges that the Department of Education has in principals managing discipline. And that is what we call consistency. Consistency is a bit of a challenge because an educator can come in 10 minutes late and you greet the person and say nothing. And another educator in the same school comes in 10 minutes late and you say to that person that is unacceptable. It's the same incident, dealt differently by the same person. And I'm going to take you through a case where the labor court talks about the impact of this inconsistency. Then we'll talk about what are substantive and procedural fairness requirements. If you know and you don't say anything, you can be jailed for 5 years. Advise the person, let's say, to resign, and the person resigns. Much later, a crime. And you will be prosecuted for being an accomplice, and you might end up in. I'm also going to talk about the rights of a learner and the duties of a principal and other educators in the school. Because there are rights and obligations on both sides. Challenges with our democracy is that everybody has a right. So incidentally, yesterday, I was involved in a debate about corporal punishment, be who we are. But what democracy has done is that everybody has got rights. Section 28 of the Constitution says a little bit higher because as a principal you have what is called a duty of care, which is not only a reactive duty, but is also a proactive duty. So you have to ensure that is not friendly for sexual offenses. Don't ask me where you get the resources, I'm not the conduct. So there's a case here that I wanted to include, but I ended up not including it because it's still the details of such, but it is about a deputy principal who raped a grade 8 learner, had mistakes in her testimony, and that's what they keep challenging. And the chairperson of the SGB was also at school at the time, and so the deputy principal walked out of that room and the learner following her. There's what is called circumstantial evidence, a judgment from this part of the world. And then we'll talk about school funds, which the president has touched on too, very interesting matter of Ramabele for terms standing in, substitute, yes. A substitute teacher that came in because the teacher, if you read the papers in this judgment, there's a particular role that the principal plays. And yes, you want the school to function, but you don't want to start promising things to people because you are not the employer. You are a representative of the employer. So this that the school functions runs around and begs the SGB to employ this person. Eagerness, just the period that the person is not being paid for whilst the things are being processed by the department, and the department on the other side is saying, no, we'll pay you for the time. In trying to ensure that there's an educator in front of the learners actually creates more problems. But we'll talk about it. And lastly, I'm going to close off with grievance management. Conflict is inherent. Okay, conflict is inherent. So the fact that you have more than one person in the school, the fact that you have more than one educator in the school means that there's going to be problems. Sometimes there's unhappiness out of nothing. You know, a simple thing. Many years ago, I was asked to go and facilitate or mediate a dispute at Legal Aid Clinic. So the problem was, in the morning, there are people who come in, more like in the staff room. They've got an open plan office. There are people who come in and open the windows. And there are people who don't like fresh air, so they close the windows. And then there are some people who were raised by their grandmothers, who wore what is called a Spencer for all their lives. Those people are very afraid of the air conditioner. And then one of them would go and switch in the air conditioner, and the other one would say, I have sinus, I have this, we can't even switch it on. The fight went so bad that they started off by not, then progressed to insulting one another. Some people did not sit in the office, or some people will not sit in the staff room and choose to sit in their cars. Yeah? You are trying to put in and manage those dynamics. So we're going to talk about grievance. What is it that you do? How do you ensure impartiality? I know that some of you end up being part of the problem. There's what is called factions and camps, you know. But I'm saying you should just try as far as possible to avoid those. So that's the glossary I'm going to deal with in the next few days. But I want to just talk about the discipline and grievances, and also those that relate to sexual offenses and similar. Unlike any other offense, has a subjective test. So, let me leave learners, let me talk about educators. That's all. nice legs. They say high heels may give you confidence. I don't know, I've never worn them. So suddenly that person is happy. Same statement by wearing short skirt. I'm inviting people. I'm offended. Please do not make such statements. I am offended by those same statement. Able to effectively and efficiently manage discipline and grievance and those that relate to sexual offenses. You must to manage grievances and discipline. What is it that you do when these incidents happen? What is it that you say when these things happen? What is it that you say to this educator who feels offended by this comment? Do you just say, ah, don't make a big thing out of it? You've just alienated the person. You need to show a little bit of empathy. On them very briefly. You must be able to deal with grievances within specified timelines. You must apply discipline consistently, fairly, and promptly. The substantive requirements. So now, so this is what we're going to do. I've now told you what we'll cover. I want you into the room. I know that there's a lot of us in the room, but I want to do this exercise because it's important for me. So I'm going to go introduce yourself. So you're going to tell me who you are, from which school you come, in which province, and I want you to we're going to answer page 3. Just write one thing. I've mentioned a lot. This exercise is important. You know, some people maybe came because they were told they're going to be taught on how to fly planes. We're not doing that, not today. So you're going to tell me what you would like to. Stand up.
Yeah, thank you very much. I only sat in the front so that I can quickly sneak out to go and smoke. But my name is Dihwadi Moshabi. I come from Limpopo. I'm attached to Patapata. What I would love to gain out of the course, it's one simple objective of having a clear understanding of reporting and disciplinary procedures, including on sexual offenses. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm also the chairperson of the Essential Services Commission. So anybody who can't strike in this world, in South Africa, I decide.
Nakani Special School in Mpumalanga. What I want to know more from this trip at a special school. That's what I want to know more.
Thanks. Did we check if we have got a second one? On sexual misconduct was incidentally from a special school in Cape Town. I had to take breaks.
Good morning, colleagues. I'm Jeanette Sapong. I'm from Gauteng. I would like to know more on how one can apply and interpret the law when it comes to sexual offenses, and also be able to correct behavior in my institution. I thank you.
I always battle with training educators because I have to mind my spelling. So now I'm trying to spell behavior and I'm thinking, what? Learn English. Thanks. Next.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Figile Mbili from Bright Future Special School, KZN. In this conference, I would like to come out knowing, as a principal, in the first place, what is the proper first step that I should do when I come to in the school? I thank you.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Samuke Mdunge Zulu. I'm from KZN. The school I'm coming from is Ethel Mtiani Special School. It's specialized in SID. That is implementable and that is also easy to understand, that deals with discipline and also with the sexual misconduct, especially because that it also happened from learner to learner. So I want that broad policy when I come from this workshop. Thank you.
From this workshop, I intend to give feedback to especially those young male educators on the dangers of sexual.
I'm from Vienna School for the Deaf in KZN. From this workshop, I'll be happy if I can be empowered in how to it takes place during the night, and the learners or the children in the hostel try to report the case, but because of the language barrier, his or her version, according to the incident that took place, in such a case, that even among the children themselves, those who are hard to express themselves, those who are hard of hearing, the ones that who are cognitively deaf, they cannot win the case. So each case.
People who are competent to assist the weaker ones, whether you and you just put your hands on your head and you say, oh my God, oh my God, you don't know where to start. Because our
Mrs. Tembekile Sokela from Entogozweni Special School. What I want to... Hello? Thank you.
Thanks.
Greetings, colleagues. I'm Lihle Cele from Polela in KZN. It's a special school for the SIDs. Their families, they would reiterate stories of abuse from the families. So you would be, like you said, you say, oh my God.
You do know that even if an educator in your school sexually assaults in the course of employment, in the course of employment means that they would have not picked up the learner, they would not have known the learner if they were not at school.
With information for fair and procedural discipline, according to informs
how to capacitate and cascade information to parents who are living with these kids.
Vulengani Special School for severely intellectually disabled learners. What should I do if the Department of Education does not do anything against the educator who instigates a learner to force,
and also to learn how to manage grievances fairly, because it's not easy. Thank you very much.
Thanks, ma'am.
Good morning, colleagues. Listening to my colleagues, what I wanted to learn.
Can you just bring it closer? Yes.
What I wanted to learn, protect these learners with disabilities against different violation of their rights, and also how to handle.
What I would in Northwest Province, Daung village, what I would like to be capacitated on after this.
My name is Kibika Mansmus. I'm from Cascena School for the Blind and Partially Sighted. What I want knowledge on sexual offences and to be able to impart the knowledge to my learners and their colleagues without blending the learners, blind learners, autistic learners, and non-communicative learners fearful of being stigmatized. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Labde Inomteto Mamela from Basizene Special School in Embalenhle, which is an SID school. From this workshop, I would like to gain an understanding on disciplinary measures regarding sins, even if they happened outside the school premises. Thank you so much.
Thanks, ma'am.
Atlantis School of Skills in the Western Cape.
Yes.
It is a school for learners with learning barriers. What I want to take from this workshop is have a better understanding of the legal processes of sexual offences versus the school policies of sexual offences. What is the legal and the school's policies? And also, they will also say that school conduct, your school conduct, you must use that. And also the one of sexual grooming. We at the mall, and that is a sexual offense that is called sexual grooming. And just have a better understanding so that the teachers can also know about that kind of
special school. I think for me today, or for the 3 days, is all about empowerment. I want to go because we experienced 2 years or 3 years ago cases like this at our school. Yes, our colleague was found, some of the colleagues now can't be that teacher, so some said yes, he's guilty, and I would like to go back, what to do if something like that happened again. Thank you.
Is this important to me as a principal? Is to have sound knowledge in dealing with sexual offences legally, as this abhorrent behaviour that you have to report what the learner says, as it can influence the case.
Thank you, ma'am. We now know that sexual offences can be reported.
I'm an inclusion facilitator from Tshwane North District. I've been working in there for 10 years. For now, I have been appointed as the principal of the Dilopje Pre-Vocational School in Hammanskraal. When you were giving us a breakdown of what is going to be, I'll be the happiest. And above all, if I can just be, developed in creating an atmosphere that is conducive for teaching and learning.
From KZN,
attached to Intutugo Special School, which is SID category. Take or implement in the place where it is a learner to learner, because seemingly the department has got no procedures. I would love to be capacitated in terms of the cases whereby you'll find that I mean, what could be the role of the principal during the hearing, let's say in the sexual offense, whereby the principal has got some information that the case is not an actual case, but it is the case that has been cooked that term by some of the colleagues within the institution in order to deal with certain individuals. You're having the information, but we have got no place to get in to raise your concern. And in most cases, such cases sometimes, I mean, if such cases happen.
Oh, yesterday, I had to give Department of Basic Education guys who works at employee relations, and he said to me, he is initiating and said, I never gave you authority to come to this hearing. Please stop. I called yesterday. This is not an old yesterday only. And the parent says, don't talk. You are a minor, I'm your guardian, come, let's go. You are not going to testify.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Buitumelo Munyera from Northern Cape, from Buitumelo School. Also, how to support the victim and also the perpetrator, because as a man, we are working with the learners with intellectual, the lack of evidence and also inconsistency when it comes to the statement of our learners. In these cases, the perpetrator can get away with it. Thank you.
That's true. Thanks, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Notariwa. I'm in a position to not myself to the district or of any offense, and to educate the teachers at my workplace.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mr. Kohli. I am the paralegal at the national office. I would like
this workshop is to gain more understanding on these laws, because we wish to review our national gender policy, including sexual
just the number of cases we have.
Thank you.
Thank you. I am Futi Shezi from Deafness and Expressive Language Disorders. I would like to come out of this workshop having gained more occurrences of sexual misconduct. What steps to follow while acting fairly and procedurally, who to involve.
Thanks, ma'am. Fairness is not an easy thing. And one of the things you must walk out and the perpetrator. Don't judge. It'll get to that stage. Your role is right at the beginning when it happens. And therefore you need to manage where the learners confessed to having plotted against the educator. I could not believe. Ma'am?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Toko. I'm coming from KZN, Kulani Special School. Having a better understanding on how to deal with sexual misconduct, and also to know how do I make the environment to be unfriendly to sexual offences. I want to learn how best can we help our learners who have been sexually harassed. As they alluded that, they will dismiss the case because of the lack of evidence there, and it's always the case. We are like 90% uncle. They want to handle it inside the house, like they want to resolve it, and they don't think about the learner.
Thank you, colleagues. I'm Josephine Morobe from the Special School, catering for SI. It's common to all of us as special schools. The thing is that our parents need to be capacitated as well. Most of our learners, they are staying with, supporting the family is going to be in trouble. So the learners started to change behavior within the school system. And that is also a challenge because our parents are protected abused because the parents are not reporting. He fears that the boyfriend is going to leave them and is the supporting structure in the family. So how best can we assist the
my name is J.J. Roberts. I'm the principal of Northwest Secondary School for the Deaf. My takeaway from this workshop would be the proceedings, the hearing proceedings. As these cases would, as one of my colleagues have alluded to, they have a potential to divide the staff and, everybody in the school community. So when the department delays in addressing these, that makes the situation more worse at school. Thank you very much.
Thanks. You might be aware that the ELRC has now, the DBE then investigates, they then charge, but then they don't hold the hearing themselves. It comes to the ELRC in terms of Section 188, capital letter A of the Labor Relations Act. We did that. The child would go to testify in the hearing. The child would be called at SACE. The child will come back to the and these cases and what's happening on them. But insofar as the other provinces, we seemed to be expediting them.
Colleagues, my name is Ikopoleng Julius Ipikwe. I'm from Itiko Special School, and I'm a D. Most of the things we are saying here seem to be the same.
Yes.
But what I can say is the world today seems, I'm telling you, everything falls apart. And it is so difficult to take her back to what she were before. So it is, we will get threats, and that's where the cases will then just disappear because we're fearing for our lives. It's just like
no pain or suffering builds character. That's absolute nonsense. So the pain that's inflicted, I like what you're saying, and what are the consequences? Even if you win a case, even if the case doesn't go forward, even if there's lack of evidence, as you said, what is the price to the victim? Sir?
Advocate and colleagues. My name is Ronald Singh. By the grace of God, I am the principal of Popelong Special School. Sexual misconduct is a microcosm of the communities that we live in. It is a sea we find ourselves sailing upon. Confronting it is a declaration of war that may lead to your extinction. because of your honesty and to confront, I'm going to ask a question here. How is a gay child protected in a hostel whereby he is believed him or her with boys, bath with boys, and you put him in the same room with boys? The other thing that I want to actually bring to your attention is a question of, is it wise to build a hostel for the hostel managers, you don't even have, in my school I don't have a hostel manager, I don't have house fathers, I don't have house mothers, I don't have drivers, general assistants, blood. And mobilization against the honest people, to an extent of good, hardworking educators are resigning. These applause by colleagues, because not everyone will become a principal, but some will not wait. They will take the post by fire.
Dipolelo Tema from Limpopo, attached to Sailor Special School for the Blind and Deaf. I take it that this that I want to emphasize and discipline contradicts the personal traits that the principal have.
That's so true.
And how do I navigate that path? Because it's a
your level of self-awareness has to be very high. Your level of self-awareness has to be of a cigarette. This is one of your educators in school. If you are not aware, your mind switches off. It has nothing to do with what he fair. And I'm going to close a day after tomorrow saying fair. Fairness is a conscious decision, Yumpals. You have to deal with your own. You must first deal with yourself before you deal with others. So you have to understand what is it that I do not like, so that what I do not like does not influence how I deal with situations. Because if you don't, you are going to deal with those situations unfairly. I'm going to say something that will probably, not sit well with some of you. Fairness requires you to divorce yourself out of every situation. Never ask yourself this question: what if it was my child? You will never be fair in how you deal with that situation. Deal with the facts. Write your report to the department, and when it goes out to the department, continue with your daily duties. When they need you, they will call you. When they need more information from you, they will ask for that information. Don't invest on the basis that, what if it was my child? Because then you are not going to be fair. Ma'am?
Sanbonan Bafweto, Zipezintle Dube from Pronobe Special School in KZN. What I would like to gain from this workshop is the capacitation and the knowledge, skills, and expertise on how to deal with misconduct in relation to sexual offenses in the school I'm leading, in a just and fair procedure in or outside the school community, linking it with the guidelines provided by DBE, and probably how to complete the Form 22 effectively and meaningfully. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am.
Sanbanani Nongke. My name is Sahara Jagat. I am the principal of Kulangolwazi Special School in KwaZulu-Natal. I think most of my colleagues that have gone before me have reiterated what it is that I expect in terms of identification, reporting, and the procedures. But I think what I'd like to take this opportunity to say is that the easy pickings. And the problem that I have is that our children are abused and the perpetrators are being protected by the family. And as a school, as a principal, how do we deal with these cases? We try to follow it up, we follow due procedure, only to find that these cases are then shut down because the parent chooses not to proceed. The community is protecting the perpetrators. So for me, that is the biggest support that I'd need. Another problem that I'd like, that I've noticed is that perpetrators that are successfully identified, that our Department of Education has this habit, once cases are closed, of them moving these perpetrators, staff, educators to other schools, hoping that the problem will get resolved. Moreover, when the I mean, all children are to be protected, but when they come into our special schools, that really gets to me. And I know we need to focus on the problem and not the person. And I know we need to look at fairness, but where's the fairness when perpetrators end up as educators, as staff in our special schools? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Ayanda Mchazo from Tembalete School for the Physically Challenged Learners in Kukuletu in the Western Cape. The first thing that I want to ask you, if I'm not going to go to jail, the word criteria is spelled wrong. It must be CRI. At a later stage, you can correct that one. If I'm not going to go to jail for that.
Yeah.
All right.
We still have 2 more days, so I have time to retaliate.
My question, sir, is that what happens if a rape takes place over the weekend by a relative or a parent, and the child washes her body, and then she comes to school on Monday, because now the evidence has been washed? Secondly, do you allow that child to go back at home on that day if she has been raped over the weekend, and on Monday she's at school and she discloses that she has been raped by a relative? Must she go back home on that Monday, or what must you do? How do you handle such a case? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'll deal with the issue. There are certain cut-offs. There are certain things that your jurisdiction starts here and ends here, and we must just be careful about it. So there are things that we should not get into because they might be problematic for us. But I'll deal with this issue in terms of where your jurisdiction as the principal starts and ends. And so you're looking out for the child. Your care has ambits as well. You are more required or expected to deal with things that happen in the course of employment. And so if it's family related.
In the Western Cape, I'm not going to repeat what everybody have said. I've learned over my years in education that, and particularly in the era that we are in, governed by laws and regulations. So for me to do my job properly, I need to know and be aware of changes in the acts and in law, and try to and the legal framework. And for me to do that, I need to know the law, and that is why I'm here.
Thank you.
Not within our control. but we normally report cases for the learners who have been raped at home. At the end, we don't find the results. So I just want to know as to whether we have the procedures that we can follow so that we can get the end results for the case that has been reported. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. I'm Konima Baso from Limpopo, Reboni Special School for the Visually Impaired. What I'd like to know is how do we ensure that there is full collaboration between Department of Justice, Health.
Good morning, everyone. Dr. Dinyiko Shingange from Limpopo, the principal of Litaba Special School, catering for learners with physical disability, partially impaired and blind learners. What I want to know, I want to be knowledgeable about sexual harassment, on how to handle it in order to protect and save an African child. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Morning, colleagues. My name is Eric Ndashe from Silindoguhle Special School in Mpumalanga, a school that caters for the blind, the deaf, and the SIDs. What I would like to get out of this course is to be equipped with the best way of handling sexual offenses, guided by a well-crafted policy and not by public opinions. Because at times, some staff members who claim to be more experienced, they do influence and mislead even the investigation. Thank you.
That's so true. Thanks.
Good morning, colleagues. I'm Togozan Mahlangu from Ezakeni Boarding School. What I'd like to get from this workshop is to get the relevant skills on how to solve cases emanating from misconduct, being reactive to a situation, but to be proactive. And also, you touch one very important thing, advocate the issue of unhappiness over nothing. It's one of the things that is dividing the staff. So I'll be happy if I can be capacitated also on that one. And my colleague here in front of me mentioned
the issue of jurisdiction, advocate. I want to understand, what about in the school transport? Because some of these things, they happen in the school transport. Just through talks, and then they end up in something selling or as practice. So how to be assisted on removing that mentality?
At school, we never saw teachers as potential partners. And it's amazing. I mean, it was unthinkable. Peter.
How are you, advocate? And colleagues, my school is Ekuruleni School for the Deaf.
Okay. We didn't clap for 1 month. So we must first clap for 1 month and then clap for 3 months. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Fairness, yes.
Thank you very much. So you can imagine the gaps that I will need to quickly close.
Yes.
Now, advocate, I think that the purpose of what I would like to get from this course is to acquire requisite legal skills to assist me and management to weigh evidence correctly and create a safe space or safe place for both learners and staff. There is this notion, advocate and colleagues, when you talk to people, usually, particularly about these special learners, there is this thing, I don't know where it comes from. You are told that these learners like sex, the special schools learners. I don't know where this thing comes from. Because these kids are just children, like pedophile in disguise. of an adult person who will describe a special learner to be at the High Court, Johannesburg High Court. This child's case is about to be thrown out of court because the child is unable to sign, so that she can then give proper evidence in court. Then this family member is about to get away with it. And that's what shattered me. So I'm saying we have enrolled that child. We are saying this child must come every day, including Sunday, just so that she is quickly equipped with skills to sign, so that she can explain what happened. So it's a very difficult terrain that where we are in, and I know we are going to learn from you, Advocate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah,
only based on substantive and procedural fairness, and then when dealing and then with misconduct, have you looked at the interest of the learner? And lastly, I would also want to know what are the rights of
catering for the blind and the deaf. Advocate, I think you have already touched on the issue of jurisdiction, that you are going to address it, because my question was cool. And then lastly, some of us who are invigilating grade 12 examinations, because we're reading material with them inside of the toilet, that whilst they are busy, we must have sight of what they are doing. How vulnerable then are we presenting ourselves to issues of accusations? Thank you.
You are principals, not police, ne?
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good morning, colleagues. I'm Tsidiso Suobi from...
Morning, colleagues. Mbulelo Malo from Northwest School for the Deaf, Kutwanong. Our misconduct between the staff members, the educators, and the learners. So, because most of the time we deal with issues only when the problem arises.
Have professional staff, and the professional staff initially they were reporting under is a social. I just give you an example. Is a social worker. When he have to have a session with the child, you observe. And if I entered in that, I just want clarity. If I entered in that, I knock, I'm interrupting in other ways. So it's really very...
I think your concerns are more of a parent more than a principal. I think it's the parent coming out more than the principal.
Impaired learners from Limpopo province. My objective is that I need to know more about policies and legislative frameworks. Thank you so much.
Thanks, ma'am.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Amos Masindi. I am from Gauteng, bring witnesses forward, especially during sexual harassment cases. Maybe if we can base much on learner to teacher cases, how do we...
By the colleagues who came before me. But on top of that, I would also like to be capacitated on sexual harassment vis-a-vis sexual assault. More often you'll hear that the sexual harassment is an act of, not a criminal act. And
my name is Mzwanele Blow from Rupin Bering Special School for the Deaf. Because this issue of fairness vis-a-vis self-awareness, I was weak at. Because when you join a principalship,
there will be people who don't like you, especially both of them when they deny it. In one-on-one, when I was talking with this boy or Lena, because others were citing that this man or boy, Lena, has got 22 years, is an adult, blah, 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 blah. Because my argument was that even if it's a man, even if it's 22, Oksala, you are a learner here. You will be a man outside this yard. But I was not popular.
I'm going to use one word that will fit because everything is.
Okay, that was going to be my final comment after all the introductions. So,
My name is Xoliswa Didi. I'm from Free State, Polo Special School for SID. I'm here to be empowered with everything that after all the journey, because I want to support both the learner and the teachers after all this journey of sexual offenses, sexual harassment, because after all this, I'm the supervisor, they are under my care, so I need to know my role. I need those skills of my role. Thank you very much.
of course.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Pinky Matsaseng from Baratimia School for the Deaf and Blind, and also for the multi-disabled learners whose primary the school is in Tabanchu, Free State. By the end of this whole workshop, I would like to be our occasion from being sued, and then I would also like to know how do we deal with the issue of confidentiality and ethics, especially if are concerned, because most of the time you find that most of the information is dependent on the poor interpreters, and sometimes
There's even Poppy here now, the Poppy Act. So you need to be extra careful when dealing with confidentiality.
I'm Steve Hoa. I'm from the Free State Tibulua School for Deaf, Blind, MID and SID. Three things. Actually two. One is about the deaf learners, as well as the SID. I've seen cases of, especially a learner-on-learner sexual misconducts. They end up nowhere. One case will be the mental capacity of these SID learners, especially when it's in the court of law. One refers to the deaf ones, then you'll hear cases of not having the interpreters, and eventually, but the last one is just to believe that the steel sharpens the steel, so I have to remain sharp.
You can't help what people think of you. So if people make you a suspect before you even say anything, you have no control over their thoughts.
Lindy Wetlake from Patalatsani Special School in the Free State. Advocate, allow me before to appreciate this initiative by our union to cater for us the special. We really applaud you, colleagues. Thank you very much. And at the end of this course, I would really want to be able to effectively manage how to handle dismissal letter. How do you feel? This weekend I did not enjoy it, but your words has honestly made it much better for me. So if I can be able to effectively manage the disciplinary issues and the grievances, thank you very much.
Thanks, ma'am.
Okay. An employee who is always late, dodging classes, playing truancy, then after it, I try to assist him or her to go for wellness. He or she is refusing.
Affect, if you do not concede to having a problem, then it stays misconduct. This is important. During classes, not coming to work and so forth. But so it's misconduct. Ne? If you and go to wellness, it then changes from misconduct to incapacity, ill health. This is very important. So the person can be helped. So I did a case where the person refused, was given warnings for all that misconduct, final warnings, and eventually dismissed. On the day when I arbitrated the matter, the person then said, I've got a problem. I said, sorry, too late. Exactly. I said, sorry, too late. Too late. You've been asked on numerous occasions. You've been told, go to wellness. The employer has extended its hand to help you. You have not taken up the offer, and now you want to come. And when that day, when they are at the gate comes, it's going to be too late. Ma'am?
One issue of the learner, the mental age and the chronological age when it comes to solving the problems of those learners.
Good morning, colleagues. I am Zanele Kuluse, the principal of Damarosa Pre-Vocational School in KwaZulu-Natal, which is MID. Looking at the program, I believe that all my concerns will be covered. Though I am concerned since in this sexual, not directly involved, this is wrong because it's like I
almost got worried. You said if you were, I thought you were.
In the plant, because a lot or unexpected, what's the word? Example, in our case, we had the conversations, WhatsApp conversation, we had all the evidence. But we were told that the case was not reported to SAPS. This evidence is not going to Witcher's phone. So it was very difficult. Also, I think the case started in... okay, another point will be the rights of the principal. That I have to say I don't need the teacher in my school. The fact that I have evidence and I want to protect.
Whether it goes to court or it goes to arbitration and it's finalized. And this is where I want to deal with the post, is that you have to deal with the consequences there. Principals. That way, the term is called displaced. Yeah, you English people, but in education, there's a term called displaced educators. So this is where you get chased out for one reason or the other. And one of those reasons were sexual, but the person had been found not guilty.
I've learned that some of these cases, yes, they do emerge because of us educators trying to punish each other, using our learners, using their vulnerability. Learners to the community and also to the parents, the SGP and all the stakeholders. But that will tell you with all the policies of the Department of Education that speaks to
what others have said. For me, I want to know how to handle a case whereby the female educator has been impregnated the system. But it remains with the school, and how, as the principal now, are we supposed to protect?
My name is Uandile Wakwakwele from a school by the name of Sigao Special School. I'll try to be very brief, as my stomach really no, one appointed, then you are taken to school, go there. Then you just have to find out how to do things there. But remember, the environment in special school do not have the criminal record that speaks to the sexual offenses. That is number one. Number two, I would love this gathering to assist me on the how to buy environment. Then when they come back, you see that that child has been abused. And the case has been, I've learned along the way that all of us, we are the suspects.
But don't include me.
Parents to play their role protecting these kids. Thank you.
Because IPILA must be approved by department. But if it's disapproved, the subsidy.
But we'll don't pass the microphone. Leave it here. You can give. Wait. Okay. I think let's take tea, and then we'll continue. This is the longest exercise, but this is the one exercise that I enjoy the most, because people talk and they share their experiences. And this is where I always want to start experiences. You need to let go of. And then here is where the law says you start and you end principles, not as social workers. It might sound sorry. Yes, and not as parents. You are parenting, saying anything to them that suggests anything that will get you into trouble. So you must look. So the one thing you need on that toolbox is always to act consciously. Consequences of doing or saying something. You know, WhatsApps to this female judge. Person said no. Now he's in a position. But now you put the two together, you have these results. So his case is now with the Judicial Services Commission, and also as women to a large extent, because even some of them can't exercise restraint. They see somebody, they say, that's my material, that's my material. It's at school, so it's hands off if it's at school. Ma'am?
Good morning, colleagues. I'm Bembe Nomonde, members of learners. Some of the learners, you can see that they are from, they have been abused from home, and then there is just to implicate the staff members, the other staff members. So I want to know how to deal with such situations.
Yeah. We'll talk about what you as the principal should do in those.
And also the items listed in the program. I thought I need it all.
Thank you.
Advocate, before getting ahead of myself, I'm Madironga Rubimbi from Sizwile Sizwile School for the Deaf in Dobsonville, Soweto, in this province. The problem of 12, 13, without knowing who their name is because they can't speak. And in the community, the very same kids end up being vulnerable. They'll be raped, someone on phone, and I'm with this person in this phone. Yeah. No, my apology.
Sure.
So we need, personally, I need an assistant so that they must sit here.
We do a lot of training for them.
For them?
Yes.
But they're the one who will ask that other question.
Leaves a lot to be desired.
Okay, no, thank you very much.
Thanks, Puti.
Thank you. Time, you find that the information has already reached the upper structures like circuit and district. Thank you.
Thanks.
High school learners, and there becomes improper relations at time. So and sorting these cases as and when they are reported. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Good morning, everybody. My name list of your presentation, advocate, but my biggest one is the legislative framework.
How to handle colleagues who abuse alcohol, and when you speak to them or when you try to counsel them, they involve their unions. So
Kobe from DP Muloto Special School in Northwest. I myself am very much concerned on the safety of it on that issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day, colleagues. My name is Mpomo Kadime, attached to Resomarete Special School.
Good day, comrades. My name is Gwyneth Makukula, principal of Rokonebapo Special School. The 3 days I want to understand effectively and efficiently dealing with the fair discipline and management, because I've discovered that we end trouble by things that are not supposed to be, by things that we are not supposed to be part of. Thank you.
Thank you. The department paid heavily for such. The Constitutional Court was very critical of the conduct of the principal for misconduct. Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you, Advocate in the House at large. I'm Fuzeka Malembe from Mount Fletcher Special School, sending these issues. How to deal with that, especially when these social media issues are too specific to the issue that is support staff and teachers, protecting learners, again protecting myself and my job, because our department is so quick to charge a principal. Thank you.
Social media will be the end of us. You can write there, good night. They will ask you, who do you think you are to say good night to us? And the case that I did, and they mixed up the facts completely. So, and they painted me in a very bad light. So I decided I'm going to go after them. Remember, I went with it. When they published the apology, it was a small article on page 15. I didn't even see it myself. And so people will continue to write things. And after that day, by the way, I told myself I'll never challenge anybody who says anything about me. I just don't have the time or the energy to do it. Thank you, sir.
Issue of safety procedures on how to deal with these sexual offenses at school and outside school, advocate. Thank you.
Thank you.
The steps or the procedure that I need to follow when a sexual offense has been reported. Reporting the learner that has been victimized by a community member after school, but while she is still in her uniform on her way.
Good day. My name is Zukile Makalima, principal, Solo Special School. Issue of dealing with misconduct and discipline of educators. Issue of assisting learners when they have the problems with sex school, where you find out that your colleagues, in fact, a manager and one of the subordinates for today, I've been told that the same gentleman who hit another one did it again. So,
very good. Police station is very good.
Wadla Jesu. Eastern Cape, Alfred Nzo, East District. I would like, it's a question of but what we think all these sexual related do's.
Advocate. My mother, who gave me the name, is very proud of the name she gave me. So, of the people that thanked such unions, by the way. I do training for SAOU, for NAPTOSA, for NATU, and for many other unions. I am absolutely touched that Cindy said to me it's training for principals. She didn't say to me it's training for oh, by the way, I never learned, what is that thing called? Pedagogy. Yeah? So my structure and talk about how we do things and correct one another and build each other's capacity. And that's why I call that thing notes. So I'm going to now deal with before incidents happen. A number of you said, I want to take this information back to the school. That's pre. That's proactive. These are the challenges, and this is the law. And then we'll deal with what you do when that incident